welcome everyone to our presentation with Melissa, who's going to talk about her awesome literacy-based crafts and what she's doing to spread literacy and joy through making. So I'm very excited. So we're going to give it about another minute or two and wait for other people.
Yeah, and I'm sorry for that bright spot. The sun is like coming in and I don't really have curtains to block that. So this like...
You should sew some.
Right? Well, yes, that probably would be relatively easy. This fabric that's on here, this is my book fabric. Remember I showed this to you like years ago when I first found it and I started to make pillows out of it? But I've always wanted to make curtains out of this. So at some point I definitely will do that. But that takes a lot of fabric and I want to conserve that print because it's hard to get. I've actually had 2 people go on missions like where they live at their Joann fabric and like go and buy it and then mail it to me because I got it like at my local ones and they weren't shipping it. So I had to get very creative.
Well, show it when you present, show us the fabric and maybe we'll be on a mission to find some more for you.
Yeah, you have to, well, and even for yourselves, it's just so much fun. There's so many possibilities with it.
Well, I'll make mine. You saw that. I'll make my own fabric.
Yes, I know. I haven't done that yet. But I am a big fan of spoon flower now. I found some really cool prints that I ordered Ruth Bader Ginsburg. So that's coming. I'm very excited about that.
Very cool.
Out of that to represent.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So we're going to begin. So I'm going to introduce my friend Melissa Thom, who is awesome. He is just awesome. We met at the School Library Journal Leadership Summit, and we just hit it off, and we had lunch together last day while I was waiting for my hubby to come by in DC to pick me up, and we just had a great talk, and I think we've really had a good friendship since then, and I just love what you're doing to promote literacy, and you're just doing it by doing something very productive, especially during this time. So I'm just going to moderate the chat and I'm just going to give it over to you.
Awesome. So good. Hello, everybody. It's so nice to see everyone. I'm going to share my screen and I think, well, actually, it says host disabled attendee screen sharing.
Okay.
So should I share it just with you and you can just pull it up? What's easier for you?
Well, I can make you the host.
Woo. All right. Well, you do that. I'll kind of do an intro. So,
well, you know what? I don't know if that's going to change the recording though. So
well, let me just share you. It's just like I'll put it in the chat as well for people.
Okay.
It's just a presentation. Of course, it's a Bitmoji scene, bunch of Bitmoji scenes.
Okay, so I will click it in there, and I'll share the screen. How's that?
That'd be perfect. That's a great idea. Okay, I'm gonna change my share settings. Done. Go back to my Zoom.
I'm just gonna admit some more people into the room.
Okay. And so that was answering my question. A couple of friends were asking if you were recording it, and you are, it sounds like.
Yes. Yep.
Okay. So check that to see. I don't know if I have you as editors. I didn't really check, so just don't change anything. If you are, I'll change the settings later.
It's just view only.
Oh, perfect. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you can share if you want, share your screen. And if you are on Twitter, I'm pretty active on Twitter, so I'll put my handle also if you do any tweeting tonight. Miss Thom Bookitis is my Twitter and Instagram handle, and I've been trying to do literacy inspired crafts as like a hashtag when I post stuff about various things that I've been working on. So I'm a middle school librarian in Connecticut, and I've been a librarian. I just finished my 5th year, so I'll be starting my 6th. I was a classroom teacher for 12 years. I started in Arizona after growing up in Minnesota, and then I ended up in Connecticut 10 years ago, and I taught in Hartford for 6 of those years, and then I moved into the library. So I've had kind of an interesting journey. I've seen a lot of different places. I don't know, my goal in life is to have a summer home on the lake in Minnesota where my family is, have a winter home in Arizona where a bunch of my friends are, and then just live in Connecticut so that I have access to all the cool places within a couple-hour drive. So that's my life goals right there. And I have been doing a lot of kind of crafting my whole life, but really not sewing too much. And this last, like 2 years ago in November, I got a sewing machine and my mom was so excited and started teaching me some basic things. And then when in December, I started, well, actually November, December, you can see like the bags that I have hanging up. I have a makerspace in my middle school, and I was looking for some cool things for us to do with, I had this group of kids who would come in every day for lunch, and we would just nerd out and talk about books. And so I started thinking about like kind of like making bags related to some of the books that we loved. And it made a great author gift because we had a couple author events scheduled. So we made the bag for the author who would come, or a pillow. You can see I make some pillows in the background, and I would teach the kids using fleece. And I don't have the, I have a fleece one I'll bring out in a little bit if you want to see it, but I've been doing cloth and cotton now, kind of connected, because that's easier for me to do when I'm at home. And I just kind of connect it to books that I've read that I love. And since I'm a middle school librarian, I focus a lot on middle grade. That's kind of my jam. That's where my sweet spot is. There's so many amazing middle grade books that have come out recently, are coming out, and that are just out already. I wanted to kind of, this is the top 10, but you know, there's no way that I could choose just 10. So what I did is, you'll see in the presentation, if you've opened it, I kind of did a top 10 for different types of books. And I'm not going to talk about all of them, but I am going to kind of highlight a few that I think that you should definitely add to your to be read list, no matter what level you teach. And if you want to introduce yourself in the chat, I would love to see where everybody is from and what you teach, and if you do any type of crafting, or some favorite books you've read, just kind of interactive, because I like to interact with people and kind of base what I would focus on a little bit later on that if it comes up. So I'll kind of get started. Are you able to share my presentation, Christina?
So I'm going to, my computer's been a little wonky lately, so let me do share screen. But I want to do the link. It's very, yeah, my computer has been very strange lately.
Yeah, it's because it's overused probably.
Do you think? Okay, so let me see if I can do that, because if I share the screen, let me go this way. I might lose everyone else.
Oh, got it.
Just saying. So let me go back in here. Yeah, it's my computer's been a little wonky lately. I'm just gonna go in here.
Yay! Hi, Valerie. I know Valerie. She's in Connecticut. I just saw her in the chat. People from all over. That's awesome.
Okay, so I'm pressing share, and
It started sharing. So, yep.
And do you see your presentation or no?
Nope. I think your desktop.
Yeah, I'm not going to be able to share because there's just some craziness going on.
Got it.
Yeah.
Can you click on the tab now, though? I see your tabs now.
Oh, yes. Because
Yes.
I'm admitting people at the same time. Okay.
Hey, you got it.
Okay, awesome. Good, good. Yeah, it's just something's going on here. So let me do view, present, and we're good.
Yay. So go to that next slide, the first slide officially. And I think that should be my middle grade book list. Mm-hmm. And I just want to definitely introduce you immediately to Olga. She is my cat down in the lower left-hand corner. She is, well, she was 22 pounds last New Year's. She has since slimmed down, and she can jump over a gate. So she joins us upstairs every morning, which is a problem. But she is, if anybody has read Sumo Kitty, that she is Sumo Kitty, and I am trying to get her a cameo in one of David's next books. I'm working very hard, posting pictures on social media frequently. She is my reading buddy, and she does a lot. She's the sweetest cat, and she's adorable. But this is my list for my top middle grade that I had to pick. It was very hard to pick, and I'm just going to talk about a couple of them. If you've read any of these in the chat, please let me know. I'd love to hear about it. But my first couple, this is From the Desk of Zoey Washington by Janae Marks. Has anybody read this one? This is by a Connecticut author. This is her debut novel, and I highly recommend it. She is amazing. I think I hyperlinked it to a Flipgrid video she recorded for me, so it's a book talk of her book if you want to watch it and then share it with students at some point. But I'm just going to read a little of the inside cover. It says, "Dear Marcus, Zoey Washington isn't sure what to write next. What does a girl say to the father she's never met, she hadn't heard from until this letter arrived on her 12th birthday, and who's been in prison for a terrible crime? A crime he says he never committed. Could Marcus really be innocent? The truth is somewhere out there, and Zoey is determined to uncover it, even if it means hiding his letters and her investigation from her mom and her stepdad. Everyone else thinks Zoey's worrying about doing a good job at her bakery internship and proving to her parents that she's worthy of auditioning for Food Network's Kids Bake Challenge. It's been Zoey's dream to become a star baker, and she can't afford to mess anything up. Her neighbor and best friend, Trevor, would have been her confidant through all this, but Zoey's not speaking to him anymore. She'll have to figure this out alone. With bakery confections on one part of her mind and Marcus's conviction weighing heavily on the other, this is one recipe Zoey doesn't know how to balance. The only thing she knows is to be true is that everyone lies. So this book has a lot of different themes in it, and I think there's some videos out there too that you can watch of Janae talking about it, and it's not based on really personal experiences very much, except the baking part. So I actually asked her, she was one of our virtual author visits this spring with my middle schoolers, and I sent her an email and asked her if she could pick kind of a theme or a symbol for her book, what would it be? And she immediately said cupcakes. So I made a cupcake mask. This was her favorite print that I found on Joann Fabric, and I made her a pillow, and I sent her a pillow and a mask as a thank you. And she was, actually I haven't sent the pillow yet. I'm gonna drive it to her because she lived very close to me and it's cheaper than to mail it. But I did send her the mask and she loved it. And then another book that I highly recommend that came out last fall is Midsummer's Mayhem by Rajani LaRocca. This book is also very, very much fun, especially for bakers. And it's fantasy in the sense that there's a lot of magical things that happen, but there's also a lot of realistic fiction with friendship. And the main character, also 11-year-old Mimi, is a huge baker, and her dad is a food critic, and he actually, some magical thing happens and he loses his sense of taste, which is crazy for a person who is like a food critic. Like, that doesn't work well. So Mimi's trying to figure that out and why that happened and how to solve that problem. She's in an Indian American family. Rajani herself is Indian American. She lives, I think, in the Massachusetts area. And she's also wonderful. And she came to our school last fall when we were still in school. And we had a group of students who read her book, and we got to have lunch with her. And there's some recipes in the back of this book. And I had a couple kids make the recipes. And she was so excited about that, as were the kids. And so she also got a very nice cupcake mask that she really loved and appreciated. So definitely another book to add to your list. One other one on here that I don't have a copy of, a hard copy, but it's What Stars Are Made Of by Sarah Allen. And this book is newer as well. I think it came out officially in March. She actually did an informal book club visit with some of my students. That it was really interesting how it happened. I had a parent email me and said that her daughter had been doing a book club with her friends since 2nd grade. And they were in 6th grade now, going into 7th. And they would pick a book, they would all read it, and then they would talk about it. And because this was all happening in April, they couldn't get books from the public library. And she was asking if I could help get a book that I had multiple copies of. And it just so happened that I had gotten a bunch of advance copies from from somebody in our state library system of this book, and I had not yet read it when I gave them the recommendation. But this is a beautiful realistic fiction story about a girl who loves science, and who is also, she has Turner syndrome. And the main character, this is based on her experiences living with Turner syndrome as well. She actually just recently posted a video on her social media of a little girl who has Turner syndrome and was like doing this amazingly ecstatic dance because now there's a book that she sees herself in. And it was just very touching. Like, that just really goes to play, you know, with that idea that kids need windows and mirrors both, and that it can be so powerful to see yourself in a book.
Could you explain what Turner syndrome is, Melissa?
I don't know. I need the book in front of me, but
okay.
There's some different things that, some things are common, some characteristics are common amongst people who have Turner syndrome, and then some things manifest a little differently in individuals, but it also, because when you have an extra chromosome, that is, what is that?
Down syndrome?
Down syndrome. This is when you have one less chromosome.
Okay.
So it's with chromosomes. It's the genetic kind of like explanation of what happens.
Okay.
And so she does a really great job, though, of kind of just this character it's through this point of view of this character, and just going through like she's in middle school as well, and so you get that side of it, and it's just all very everyday things, and you just kind of learn a little bit through that character. And then there's like I said, an amazing science connection, and then there's kind of a mystery, and the main character is trying to have this famous female scientist become recognized who is not known to history because her research got stolen and published by a male, and so she's kind of been lost to history, and she's a real person. So I love those kind of stories that take that kind of, you know, messed up history and kind of try to rectify it a little bit. So also one that I highly recommend. And then the last one, I could talk about all these books, but I won't. So one that I also just made a new mask for, I just got the fabric last week. Coop Knows the Scoop. And this book also just came out, and it's interestingly enough, it released in paperback, which is awesome for price because you don't have to pay the hardcover fee. So this book, I got it at my independent bookstore. It was $7.99. It's by Terrence Sodders. And I wish I didn't grab it. She actually won something on Twitter from her. She did a Twitter raffle right before her book came out, and it is a clipboard that she made. And I don't think I can go grab it, but I'll post it later, and you can share it. But it's from a Hardy Boys, you know, those old hardcover Hardy Boys book. She took out the guts of it, and she has just the front and the back cover, and she made it into a clipboard. And she put in like her own little like, you know, notepad and something about like mystery or clues or something. It's just the cutest thing. And then she sent me the directions on how to make that, because I said that would be such a cool maker activity. When we get back into school and have our maker spaces, you know, that's a cool way to recycle books that it would work with. So
I bought one of those things. It's like a binder press kind of thing.
That's what she said. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not. It's kind of expensive, but I saw it on clearance on Michael's. Again, 3 kids. I buy things, no time. So I'm living through you, Melissa.
Yeah. She also had. I don't know. I'll send those direct. I'll type those up. She put it in a Twitter message to me, just like all the materials that you would need. But she could be a good person to have on your, you know, your show. And like, I thought we could do that. Like, I'm the vice president of our library association as well. So I thought that would be a cool, like, just fun PD that we could do, that we would invite the author and she could show us how she did this. But this book I literally read in a day. I got it as a digital ARC on NetGalley, and that's another thing. If you are a teacher or a librarian and you don't use NetGalley, you absolutely should sign up, because especially now they're not doing a lot of print advanced copies, and I don't know that they're going to go back to that now, some publishers. I think it's going to really be digital. And NetGalley, oh my God, and they just got a new app that has blown my mind. Like, it's amazing. And all the books that I have 83 books on my shelf in NetGalley. All of them go into your app, and you can just read them right there, either on your iPad or on your phone, where it's amazing. So that's how I read this, though. And it's actually, it's a middle grade mystery, but there's some serious stuff, along with some humor. But I'm gonna read the back. It says, the whole town is talking, and it's up to Coop to find the truth. Windy Bottom, Georgia is usually a peaceful place. Coop helps his mom at her cafe and bookstore, hangs out with his grandpa, and bikes around with his friends, Justice and Liberty. The town is full of all kinds of interesting people, and no one has ever caused a big problem until now. When the link to a cold case mystery is discovered beneath the playground, everyone is eager to solve it. But somehow Coop's grandpa is taking all the blame. It seems like there are a lot of secrets buried in their small town after all. And I'm gonna give away a very small spoiler, because it happens in the very beginning, where they find bones from years ago, and it turns out it was Coop's grandmother who had disappeared many, many, many years ago, and now the grandfather is the main suspect in the case. And so it just is really good, like, mystery. And it did take me almost to the end to figure it out. Some of you might get it way quicker, but it was so good. So highly recommend that to add to your mystery list. And then the book that, the bottom shelf there, Lupe Wong Won't Dance. I wish I had a physical copy. I shared it with somebody, my advanced copy. It's not out yet, but write that down, and you absolutely need to add that to your middle school library, and your elementary, and even your high school library. It is amazing. It is it's very serious in some areas, but it also is hilarious, 7th grader, and the first paragraph is the best paragraph I've ever read in my entire life. So you'll have to get the book to check it out. It's amazing. All right, so you can go to the next slide.
Okay. Yep.
And so I want to just mention some picture books, because I also do love picture books. And I think that I'm probably preaching to our choir here, but picture books don't just belong in the elementary. They definitely belong in 6-12 as well. As a former teacher who uses them for many lessons regularly, I'm just really excited about all the great new ones that are coming out. Most of these are new. Some of them haven't come out yet. The Name Jar and Alma are a little bit older. The Name Jar for sure. I used to use that probably in my first couple of years of teaching for the first week of school, where I would have kids share the story of their name. I would read that book, and we would do an activity kind of like to get to know us and to connect a little bit. And Alma is a newer iteration of that with a different culture. So that one is one that I would probably use in conjunction now if I were still in the classroom, or if you have the opportunity in the library to do that as well. One that I want to definitely highlight is this book. It's on the bottom shelf. And I don't know if I'm going to say the name correctly, but Fauja Singh Keeps Going. And the subtitle is The True Story of the Oldest Person to Ever Run a Marathon. And it is by Simranjeet Singh. And I linked a Flipgrid video that he recorded for Nerd Camp Connecticut, and it is unbelievable. And he just talks about when he was growing up in the United States, I believe in Texas is where he grew up. And he never, ever, ever saw a book with a character from the Sikh religion and his culture. And then he thought about that as he was a child, kind of forgot about it. And then when he got to be a parent, he came back to the same problem. So he decided to write a book. And this is the picture book that came out of that goal. So it's a very inspiring story. It also is very interesting because it gives us a very alternate perspective on Gandhi, and that he wasn't seen as such a wonderful human being to every group of people based on what he did with India and the partition and stuff. So that was just a perspective I had never read before. So I thought it was very interesting that, just reminds you that people have all sorts of different things that they have done in their life, and that sometimes in our education and our reading, we only see that one side. And so it was just an eye-opener for me. So that, and then the other one I just want to show that to draw attention to is the Dictionary for a Better World. This one I actually came to because I'm part of the Book Love Summer Book Club that's happening with Penny Kittle. If you don't know about that, put it on your radar for next summer. I've done it for all 5 years that they've had it, and it's just really good conversation, amazing books. They do talks with the authors. You can engage as much or as little as you want, and all the proceeds to join the book club, and if you buy the books with them, go to the Book Love Foundation that supports Classroom Library, which is amazing. So that's something that I really am an advocate for. As a librarian, I completely support classroom libraries, and I think we all need to, because we just need to share the love, and it's not a territorial thing. We just need to be open and help teachers build their libraries that are diverse and relevant. So definitely check that one out. And then our Gerpel and Preen. Oh my God, so good. I also put a book link or a Flipgrid link from the Nerd Camp Flipgrid that we did for that one. And that one's a great one for makerspace. That one I'm gonna use like as a mini lesson in the beginning of the year, maybe with my 6th graders, to get them, just how to use different things and to, creative thinking and all that. So lots of other ones you can look at. So you can change the slide. And I'm trying to keep eye on the clock. So we officially have 8 minutes left, which is insane. So this is my young adult book list, and I've been very proud of myself. I've actually, I haven't read all of the books that are on the shelf, but they are all on my list of to be reads. One that I have read, I actually listened to the audio, and this book, she was one of the speakers at ALA Midwinter, I think is where, oh shoot, can you still see me? I just gotta, my internet is unstable, so I hope.
Yep, no, we're good. You're good.
So Ethel Brown is her name, and Black Girl Unlimited, and the subtitle is The Remarkable Story of a Teenage Wizard. So this book is both harrowing, magical, it just touches you and it stays with you. There are still parts of the story. I listened to this story probably 8 months ago, and I still think about parts of the story. I'm going to read the inside cover because I think it does a better job of me trying to ad-lib. So it says, Echo Brown is a wizard from the east side of Cleveland, where apartments are small and parents suffer addictions to the white rocks. Yet there's magic everywhere. New portals begin to open when Echo transfers to the rich white school on the west side, and an insightful teacher becomes a pivotal mentor. Each day, Echo travels between worlds, leaving her brothers, her friends, and a piece of herself on the east side. There are dangers to leaving behind the place that made you. Echo soon recognizes the pain flowing through everyone around her, and a black veil of depression threatens to undo everything she has worked for. Heavily autobiographical and infused with magical realism, Black Girl Unlimited fearlessly explores the intersections of poverty, sexual violence, depression, racism, and sexism. So this is definitely young adult. This is one that I don't have in my middle school library, but I might hand it to an 8th grader if it was the right reader. But I think all teachers and librarians need to read this book. It is just a very important, powerful story. So definitely add that to your list. And I think I listened to the audio with Libro FM. The audio was amazing. So, let's see. The other one, actually, another one that, so NetGalley also just 2 weeks ago, I think, added audiobooks, which is crazy. So they don't have a lot of options yet, but one that they do have is this book. It's called Raybearer, and it is by Jordan Ifueko. And this is definitely for fans of Children of Blood and Bone, for any of you out there who have read that book or the second book. And I'm listening to the audio for that one. I'm about a third of the way through, and the audio is amazing. They have different voices and the characters, and it says, what if you've sworn to protect the one you were born to destroy? So it says, Terasai has always longed for the warmth of a family. She was raised in isolation by a mysterious, often absent mother known only as the Lady. When Terasai comes of age, the Lady sends her to the capital of the global empire of Aristar to compete with other children to be chosen as one of the Crown Prince's Council of 11. If she's picked, she'll be joined with the other council members through the Ray, a bond deeper than blood. The closeness is irresistible to Terasai, who has always wanted to belong somewhere. But the Lady has other ideas, including a magical wish that Terasai is compelled to obey. Kill the Crown Prince once she gains his trust. So, I mean, the voice is the girl, it starts when she's very young, and it kind of explains how she comes to be. And then it goes forward, and now she's about 15, I think. So it kind of progresses quickly, but it's really good fantasy based on a lot of, I think, African mythology. I don't know that for sure, but the author, I've seen a couple of videos, like her book talks. So this is definitely, and this is appropriate for my middle school library. I think School Library Journal maybe recommended it for 7 and above. So definitely put that one on your list. And this one is coming out soon. I don't know. It was supposed to be April, but it got pushed. So I'm not exactly sure when it comes out, but it should be very soon. And then the one on the bottom, Lobizona. Oh my God. I don't have a copy of this one either, but Romina Garber is the author. She was with Nerd Camp Connecticut, so I got to meet her a little bit. This book, I don't know if I can summarize it very well, but it is amazing. I like the cover itself is astounding, and just the story. It's about Argentinian kind of folklore, and it involves sort of like werewolf type characters, and it just has a lot of different components that made it a very, very great read. It definitely is older too. I don't know what School Library Journal recommends it as, but I don't know that I'll buy it for my middle school library. I have to do more research, but just like as a reader, I loved it. So definitely check that one out as well. And then you can switch one more slide. And of course, I have to give a shout out to my Connecticut authors. So all of these books on this shelf are books that I love. I think I actually, all except Dress Coded, which I just received in the mail, I have read all of these books on the shelf. Zoey's on there, of course. A Home for Goddesses and Dogs by Leslie Connor, who is an amazing writer. And I also, that little puppy dog print down there, that's a mask that I make to go along with it. I made her a bag. I don't know if I have it here. I gave her one, but this is the second one that I started that I haven't finished yet. So I'll put like on the back, like my favorite quote from the book, and then maybe like some stenciling of something that has to do with the story. A Tale Magnolius is also one of my faves. And do I have that one here too? Suzanne Nelson is also Connecticut. I don't know where that one went. And this book is a beautiful book involving an elephant. And it's just a very touching story between the elephant and the girl, and they're both misunderstood and mistreated, and they kind of help one another find their own family together. And it's just a very, very good book. Ruby in the Sky and A Galaxy of Sea Stars, both are by one of my newly discovered as of last year favorite Connecticut authors, Jeannie Ferrulo. And A Galaxy of Sea Stars just recently came out, and that's one of the star related ones that I do my pillow and my mask and my bags with, and she is wonderful. And both of her books are very heavily influenced with her work with, I think it's Iris, but it's like with refugees in New Haven, Connecticut. It's an organization, and she met through her work a lot of women who were from Syria. And A Galaxy of Sea Stars involves a Syrian refugee girl and her family who come over to the United States. And the main character she lives with her father, who is kind of suffering from post-traumatic stress from war. And they become friends, and they kind of figure out how to manage middle school, because things are not the same. They're middle school. It's a little rough. So that's a beautiful book. I highly recommend it. And then Jake Burt, who I'm sure most of you are familiar with. Jake Burt has, I think, 4 books now, 4 or 5. And so Tornado is his most recent one that's published. That is an amazing story. I just recently finished that one, and it has to do with bullying, and it's a little hard to read in some ways, because I saw him speak, and things that happened to the character in the book, all of those things happened to him by a bully he had in elementary and middle school. But it's such a powerful story, and it's about being who you are and being okay with that. And it's a very well done story. And then the one to the left of that, Cleo Porter and the Body Electric, is completely different. It is science fiction, and it is not out quite yet, but oh my God, like I read it like a month ago, and the premise of the book is it's set at a time in the future where this huge virus has wiped out most of humanity, and people cannot leave their apartment buildings. And I'm reading this, and I'm like, holy crap, like this is a whole new real for me right now. And when he was writing this, obviously that was not happening. Like I said, do you have a time machine? Like, did you go into the future and see what was going on in 2020 and then go back and write this book? So there's just, there's a lot of differences, but there's a lot of parallels, and it was a little rough reading every now and then just because it was a little too real. But it's just the character. I loved Cleo so much, and she actually they get this delivery to their apartment of medicine for somebody that they obviously don't know who it is, because they've never met anybody besides themselves, really, their family. And she escapes her apartment to try to deliver medicine, because she's afraid that if this person doesn't get it, they're going to die. And so it's like her journey and her mission to try to do that. And it's kind of that story of finding out what's on the outside. And it's not what people have been telling her all these years. So it's just a very interesting story. And then go one more slide, and we'll wrap up soon. And I do have some giveaways. And actually, this one I think was sort of an unfinished slide. That's my Tale Magnolius, though. That's my bag. I knew that I had it somewhere, but that's the picture of it. So go one more slide. I was going to add a few more things to that one, and I didn't. And then this is just a few of just like the books with the things that I paired it with, because that's part of what I wanted to talk about, just my literacy-inspired crafts. And that rug is actually the rug in my office, so that's my real rug. It's my favorite rug ever. I don't remember where I got it. I ordered it somewhere online, and it's awesome. So I wanted to throw that in. And then go one more slide, and this is awesome. Get ready for it. That's super Olga. Yep, that's really Olga. Tape. So yeah, I was gonna add a few more things on there. I just didn't. I thought that was fine. That just spoke for herself. So as we wrap up, I don't know, do you have any fun ways to kind of do a giveaway that, like, if people maybe emailed me with something
Or Twitter or email. I do have all the emails from the Eventbrite when
Okay.
people. So, do you want to think about that, and then we could actually send us an email from Eventbrite with your task or your challenge?
Ooh, why don't we do that? I think that'd be kind of fun. Because
Okay.
I have for sure 4 books to give away, and maybe more. So yes, that would be awesome.
Awesome. So Melissa will craft an email. I'll throw it into the Eventbrite, send it to everyone. I'll send it to everyone who signed up, if you don't mind.
Nope, that's fine.
There were about 100 of us. But, it's hard during the summer days. I understand.
And I'm not
So
recording it, so they'll be able to watch it if they want. So that's all.
exactly. So, and then we'll go out and we'll send that task out. I love what you're doing, Melissa. When you invited me to the Scholastic office and you handed me that blanket with the ducks on it, yeah. Melissa knows that the ducks are in memory of my sister Larissa, and so when I went up to Connecticut to speak for her, to her librarians, she and Barbara Johnson, Melissa had made this beautiful fleece blanket, no-sew blanket for me, and I just love what you're doing, Melissa. I love how you're tying in making a difference, with literacy, with your tote bags and the pillows. I think it's an all around great vibe. I just love it. You are like the out of print. You are like the maker out of print. That's what you are. If you know out of print, you love that store. I do. And I also think of Svaha, SVAHA. So I bought a lot of my STEM clothes through Svaha. You are like the DIY out of print Svaha girl.
Well, that's awesome. And it just reminded me, like, I didn't even talk about like the masks that I've been making, and I have been selling them in limited quantities because I don't know, I don't want to get overwhelmed. But any money that comes back from that, I then just keep in like a different fund, and I buy books, and I will then send them to people, whether it's like people I know around the country or students, or like if I see somebody online, or I'll do giveaways. And then I made my own like little stickers that I put on when I send my masks in the books, and then I put this on the book. And I was doing this in school too. Like I give away a lot of books to students and to teachers, and I'll just say, you've been booked, with a Post-it on it. And very quickly before we sign off, I'm going to show you.
Oh, and I'm going to give you a suggestion.
Oh yeah.
Here's a suggestion. Use the Flipgrid Shorts camera. You don't need to make a grid or a topic. Just go to Flipgrid and go all the way to the right side where it says Shorts.
Yep.
Record a message.
Ooh.
And take the QR code and put that in the book.
That's a great idea. I love that. I do use the shorts. I did use those for distance learning this spring, and that's a fabulous idea.
Put the link as well, because some people don't use a QR code. Put the link in the QR code, put it in your book, and put it in any gift that you give.
Oh, that's
I think
such a great idea.
I'll send it out through Eventbrite. I have like 200 of these QR code hacks, but I think that would be perfect, because when we hear you speak and we see you speak, it just brings the gift even more alive.
Awesome. And then this is my bookshelf of all the books that I have found or purchased or advanced copies that I give away. So I just, and then this is not super clean, but this is my space, my sewing machine, my fleece. Yeah, I love my maker space.
From Melissa, I learned the art of asking for books, and so I'm going to give away your hack. So Melissa, I was going to ALA Midwinter, and Melissa's like, you get free stuff. And I had never been to ALA Midwinter. I'm like, yeah, okay. Well, I was told many times to put my wheelie cart away, but I couldn't carry all these books. I made friends with the post office at ALA Midwinter, and they held my books. And then I came back for a few trips and keep filling the box over and over. Melissa says, ship them through, what is this?
Media mail?
Media mail, which took forever. It took some weeks, but it was dirt cheap. And I was so nice to those postal workers, and they were awesome to me. And I had a books and bagels. I took all the books I had, and I put it on tables, and I gave away the books with bagels. And it got people into the library.
That was awesome. And I actually did that this last time, kind of basing what you did on that part. I did that with my staff, and I got a bunch of adult books that I gathered at ALA Midwinter. And I did that same thing where they could come in throughout the day and just take a book to read for themselves. That was one of the culture of reading things, to get my adult, like the teachers, more into it. So
Yeah.
And
So
oh my God, it
thank
was
you.
Christmas when all those books arrived. Holy cow. It was amazing.
It was great.
Amazing.
But get all those pens, get all those posters, sign up for all those things, grab the swag and grab those books and just host one of those little parties and people will come.
Yeah,
That was Melissa. When I saw Melissa's haul, I was like, all right, I'm gonna try it. And it really did work. So I'm thanking, I'm giving you props. Thank you.
you're welcome. And my other tip is don't go with the biggest box. Go with smaller boxes because my big box did not really survive the trip, but thank God it exploded at my West Hartford post office. And the post carrier, like the postal carrier knows me. And he was so kind and he put it all in his little tubs and he brought it in that way. And I was forever grateful, like forever grateful that he did that for me.
So they haven't kicked us off Zoom yet, so we'll keep on going until they kick us off. And because I'm recording, I really don't want to go into the chat right now, but if anyone wants to take off the microphone, unmute yourself. If you want to, give a virtual hug to Melissa with your words, that would be awesome. Or if you have any questions, go for it.
Yeah, I do see some faces and names that I know, but I see a lot of people I don't. So yeah. If anybody wants to ask a question or has a suggestion or a resource that they use.
So I'm just this is Jenny, and I just wanted to say that we got a message across our screen that said Zoom, we had unlimited time now, so just FYI.
Oh, yay!
Because
I saw the same message, but I'm like, I don't trust anything or anyone, so go for it.
So we have a few more minutes for sure if anybody has any. Hi, Jenny, by the way. So glad you're here.
Hi, Jenny. Glad you could make it.
So glad to see everybody. I'm so glad I was able to come in too. Thanks.
Yay.
Valerie, we can't hear you.
Oh no, I know, and it says she's unmuted. I feel like there's.
Yeah.
I have that problem with my computer too. I had to do a new computer.
Oh, she's giving you a hug. She's giving you a hug. Yeah, she's unmuted.
Amazing librarian in Connecticut. Very. Oh, I see Jenny's face. Yay.
Hey.
Well, one of the things we're trying to do here, and Jenny and I are trying to start, is the hashtag CT Castle Reads. So we've been kind of sharing books that we've gotten. I'm also a member of Book Posse online, and it's an ARC sharing group. So we mail the books back and forth. There's a sign-up sheet to say which books we want, and we go in the order we sign up for. So I'm trying to model that a little bit and do something like that in Connecticut, just with the Connecticut librarians to share ARCs that we might get access to. So that's something that we've, in the last few weeks, we've been doing.
This is Beth. I have a question. How do you start something like that, an ARC sharing group?
Well, I don't know. Like we haven't officially I didn't start Book Posse. I'm just a member. So I've gotten some ideas from that. But I think what we're going to do, we're going to find a few readers who are interested in doing this. That's step one. So it's Jenny and I right now, and we both probably have a couple people we're going to invite. And then to kind of make it more organized, we'll probably create a Google Doc, just like a spreadsheet where, if I get a book, I put the title, the author, I put when it's publishing, and then we do we do Twitter on Book Posse, and Jenny and I have been doing Twitter and Instagram. So we put the @ and the hashtags with the publisher and the author, because part of that ARC sharing is also to promote and elevate the books and to get people to know about what books are coming. And that promotion has been huge, especially in this time where authors can't do their regular book launch events. So that would probably be the first basic steps. And it can be as easy as you want it to be. It could be, you could just even do it with people that you can physically exchange books with. We mail them for Book Posse because we're from all over the country. There's a lot of states that are represented. Jenny and I just literally see each other once a week. We get together and we just exchange books. We just exchange what we have. So does that kind of help?
Yeah, do you have physical books? How do you get them? Or do you use NetGalley or?
Both. Now we have, now I have been reading more NetGalley books for Book Posse just because we're not getting as many physical books. But one of the things, if you become a more established ARC sharing group, the publisher or the author will send you a copy because they get so many copies from their publisher. So I know that Cindy Schwinn is the person that organizes Book Posse, and she gets a lot of the books. And I actually just had an author reach out to me on Twitter because I do a lot of tweeting about books, so authors see that. And he actually reached out to me and asked if Book Posse would be interested in her book. And then, so she sent me the copy of that book. And so I'm the one that gets to start it and read it first and then send it off. And actually, I have the book right here. This book looks so good. It's called Pepper's Rules, The Secret Sleuthing, For Secret Sleuthing by Brianna McDonald. And somebody, I think on wherever it was from, it said like it's a mix between Nancy Drew and, I don't remember, but it was two things that I thought were awesome and not necessarily connected. But yeah, so like authors could reach out to you, or if you know a book is coming out and you have a relationship with the author, just be like, if you have any extra arcs, we would love, like we have a group that we share them with, because I think when authors know also it's going to be more than one person, they're much more likely to send you one of the limited copies of their books that they get from their publishers for you to like spread the wealth. I did that with Lupe Wong, Won't Dance, the one that was on my middle grade shelf. So I got that copy through Book Posse, but I don't get to keep those. Like they have to move on. But I loved the book so much, and I knew that I would have other like librarians and students who would want to read it. I sent her a message on Twitter, just like a DM, and I just told her what I was hoping and how much I loved it. And she sent me a copy with swag in the mail. It was awesome.
Thank you.
So, you know, it just building relationships with the authors is huge. And with NetGalley being what it is now, they're pretty open. Like they've approved everything I've asked for, even though I just keep building up books because I have had such a pile, like at my house, I haven't gotten to the ebooks yet. Because you really want to make sure if you do Edelweiss or NetGalley, that you make an effort to read and then review short, even like to even just like give basic feedback or put a review on Goodreads and then Amazon when the book comes out. Because that's also what that's for, right? Like it's not just to read it and not pass it on, it's to read it and share about it. So Jenny's been good about that. She has a system now with the NetGalley.
Oh, what's Jenny's system? I have to hear this.
I did. Like I really, because it was getting a little bit out of control, and I was feeling badly that I was not keeping up with reviewing them. And so ones that I get in the mail, sometimes I will just do Instagram or Twitter, and that seems to be enough. But the ones on Edelweiss or NetGalley, so I decided, and I made a whole spreadsheet, and I have one tab for the NetGalley ones, and I have one tab for the Edelweiss ones, and I have like title and author, and then I think when I downloaded it, so I can keep track and make sure that I'm like keeping current with the ones, because they do expire. So if you don't, some of them do expire. They don't stay in your thing forever and ever. So, and then I had made a Google Doc of what my reviews were, so I could just kind of copy and paste, so I could put it into Goodreads, I could put it into Amazon. But I was able to figure out, I think, at least on NetGalley so far, how to hook my Goodreads account up to it. And so it will just, once I post it in NetGalley, it just hits Goodreads too. It would be really nice if I could connect my Amazon account too. That would be very handy. But that way I feel like I'm being true and honest to, you know, they're doing this out of the kindness of their hearts to let us read what they are. And so I really wanted to make sure I was doing my due diligence in sharing. So, and, you know, and plus if there's really great books that are coming, I would like to be considered to be able to review those. So I wanted to do my due diligence. So that's my strategy right now. So far, so good. We'll see what happens when school starts.
Well, we don't know that that's going to be like poof for a while, but
Yep.
And Sharon, you had said that you thought Amazon only allows reviews if you purchased. I don't think that is true. At least I just posted a review on Amazon of a book that I didn't purchase through them, but I do know it has to be published. It can't be like before it comes out. It has to like already be out in the world in order for a review to post. And I've talked to more than one author that has asked if I would post a review on Amazon. And it's even more important than Goodreads because Amazon directly affects sales, whereas Goodreads might just more directly like affect like you and I, like librarians and teachers going there to see what the book was reviewed as or how many reviews it has. But like it actually will increase sales the more reviews they get on Amazon, and it'll make it more visible.
I will tell you, testify. I will tell you from experience, because I've had people say that they put in an Amazon review that has never posted because they don't have an Amazon established following. They may not have bought the book somewhere else, but they may never have reviewed anything. So if people don't review, I mean, you don't have to have like 1,000 reviews, but if you don't review anything ever, and all of a sudden you're going to review my book, they're going to kick it back because they just want to make sure that it's legit. So if you're going to review a book on Amazon, please review the toothbrush that you just bought, the duct tape that you just bought, something that you just bought, so they know that you're legit and you're not this, robot, because it does affect the authors.
And I did check, I can't remember which one I just recently posted for, but I did check, because it takes a couple of days also to post, like it'll give you that message. And it was on, I saw my name. Like my name was on there in the short little thing. And like I would always not write reviews because I didn't think I could do a good enough job, or I just didn't sit down and take time. Like I literally write out 2 to 3 sentences immediately when I finish the book, just to get something out there. And then if I'm so inspired or have time, I will go back and I will add. But at least I know I did it and it's done, and there's something out there in the world about that book. So
means a lot. It really does.
It's building the habit. It's just, it's just building the habit. And the same with tweeting. Like with Book Posse, what we have to do is we have to take a picture of the book. We have to like say that we're starting to read it. And then our job, it's literally a job. Like I have to do this daily. I have to like and retweet every Book Posse tweet. So there's like 25 or 30 of us. So just think about how many times that's getting shared and how many people are actually seeing that, because it's
I've seen them. I've seen your tweets.
yeah. And I mean, there's times where I don't do it for a few days and then it takes me a while to catch up, but like it's something that you just, again, get in that habit, and it's just about promoting those books and those authors. So it's a lot of fun.
So I'm just going to go back to your crafts and talk a little bit about the literacy inspired crafts and where they came about and why you do that.
I think, well, the why is because I just wanted to find a way to connect my 2 passions, really. Like I love books and reading and literacy, I always have. And I love making things, and I like making things for people. Like I like them to be meaningful and to like have gifts, and that goes along with something that will be important to them, but it was also important for me to share that with them. So that's kind of the why behind it. And then the when, really I started doing probably like November-ish, December is when I really started like building this space out. It was over winter break actually when I fully took over. I wasn't really sure what my family would support me taking this space over, but then I just did it, and it was like no going back.
Forgiveness permission.
Exactly. And then they just don't come up here very often anymore, and they know this isn't my happy place in my space. And so I don't even remember the first one I was doing. I just started like, I found the bags I had never shopped at Hobby Lobby before, but
yes.
These bags are like, I don't know, they were $3.50. They might have went up a little bit in the last few months. I haven't obviously been there, but it's a cheap craft. So my friend Carrie wanted to make something for her mom for Christmas. Like she was going to do a towel, like a dish towel. And so I bought this fabric paint, and we bought some stencils, and she came over, and I started like just making, and it was actually that little owl bag up here. Reading is my favorite sport, based on the Scholastic. I had a cup from Scholastic that said that, and I was gonna bring this to school, and I was gonna in the You've Been Booked thing that, I don't know if you've seen that go around, where I was gonna start doing that with my teachers at school. I was gonna like gift their classroom books throughout the spring, which obviously didn't happen, but will hopefully happen soon in the future. So that's when I started just doing these small bags. And then I started thinking about some of the books that I was reading, and I was like, oh my God, like it would be so much fun to make a bag based on the book that I was reading. So I had read A Tale Magnolious. I had met Suzanne Nelson at Nerd Camp Long Island in November. She gave me a copy of her book. I read it. I'm like, oh my God, this book is so beautiful. And then on the back, what I do is like I have this thing called Melissa's Golden Lines. It's a hashtag that I use on Twitter to keep track of just like lines from books that just make me stop and think, or that I love. Can you see, like, now the sun is like in my eyeballs? Like it's
they're very golden lines.
I know. But so I started to just put my favorite line like on my bag. So on the back it says, theirs was meant to be a great and timeless friendship, because that's really kind of like the core of the book. And then one of the ones that I put on the front that I loved was, hope was never an end, but always a beginning. So I just love lines like that authors can just pull out and just make you feel something. And then I would just kind of decide like what I found, a stencil of an elephant. You know, I wasn't a super big fan. This is a design that I probably won't copy again, but you know, it's just creative, and it's making it up as you go, and it's finding different materials. So now I have a whole, like, I could probably teach a class with all the materials and the fabric paints and the fabric markers and just like all the different things that I found out that work and don't work. The little
I'm
sponges.
thinking.
Yeah, little sponges are the things to do, like when you do the lettering, and I buy stencils, and you know, you just find like systems, and it's just relaxing. Like I would do it at night when I was downstairs at the kitchen table, they'd be watching TV or something, and I'd just be in the kitchen listening and watching and doing my bags. And then when Leslie Connor came in March, right before we had to shut down, she did her Home for Dogs and Goddesses, which I mentioned this book. This book is like, it's such a good book. I highly recommend it. And so I wanted to give her something. So I made a bag that was similar to this, but it was all finished and it had a back to it. And then I made a pillow out of fleece. And actually, let me show you what the fleece pillows look like. I'll go around. Hold on. And this is what I actually have in my library makerspace. So I actually had the kids help me tie the knots for the blanket for her, and then, or for the pillow for her, and then I had them make a blanket. So they got to present the blanket to her when she was there to thank her for coming. And she then sent a picture of her little puppy. She has like a little dog that's so adorable, with the blanket and the pillow and the bag when she got home. She lives in Connecticut, so she's a local author, and the kids were just so excited that she loved the blanket and the pillow, and it just makes a great author gift. And then Allie, you know Allie Schlipp. So Christina was School Librarian of the year I met her, like 2015, right? And so she says we met at the summit. Well, I knew who she was, and I was like totally fangirling when she was like down in the lobby at the end of the conference, and she didn't have anywhere to go for lunch, and I was waiting to get on my plane. And so I was so excited that we got to have lunch together. It made my whole weekend. It was fabulous. But then Allie Schlipp was School Librarian of the Year 2 years after that, maybe? It was when we were in Brooklyn.
What was Todd, then Tamika, and then Allie.
Oh, so 3 years after that.
Yeah,
and so that's
2018.
when I met Allie.
Mm-hmm.
And she does travel Lego buddies was kind of like her thing that she talked about. And we just became super good friends. We stay in touch social media. And then we got to hang out at Midwinter in January. And she was having Dusty Bowling come to her school in March. So she bought a bag and a pillow from me, and she gave it to Dusty Bowling, and Dusty Bowling took a picture of that and put it on social media. I'm like, holy crap, Dusty Bowling has my pillow and my bag, and she's like talking about it. I mean, it just is amazing. And then Dusty Bowling was one of our author visits in the spring as well, that she promoted on Twitter, which is, if you are not on Twitter, people, you have got to add that to your list of things to do, because I got a free author visit both from her, because I saw it on Twitter, and from Natalie Lloyd, who is really one of my all-time favorite authors, and her book, A Snicker of Magic, is just, that'll be in my top 10 forever until I die. And so I actually made her a blanket. Well, it's funny, because I didn't make her this blanket. I had made a blanket that had ice cream cones on it, like when I first started doing blankets like 2 years ago, and I can't find that fleece anymore, but I had the blanket. So I mailed that to her, and she was so excited. She was so happy. And I actually just got a message from her, and she gave me a link to an Audible book. She just released a book only on Audible. It's not coming out in print. And she gave me like a token or a voucher to listen to it for free, because she was still thanking me for this blanket that I sent her, for thanking her for doing the author visit. So it's just, I mean, it's just something that I connect with other people about something that I love. It's just, I think it's fun. I love looking for the fabric. I'm sort of addicted, and I need to stop buying things and just make more and give more away.
I think we have to find you fabric. I think we have to be your fabric hunters.
Yeah, and oh my God. So I didn't even show you this one. If there's any elementary librarians out there, for sure, look at what I found. The cat, so cute. This is actually Amazon. This is the only fabric I've been finding via Amazon that I couldn't really find at Joanne. Like I couldn't find any Pete the cat. And actually it's Jenny is the brainchild behind me even looking for Pete the cat. I'm also looking for the pigeon, but I can't find the pigeon anywhere yet. I've been looking for a while. So if you see any of the pigeon, that's not like $45,000, let me know. And then
I think this makes like really great like retirement gifts.
Yeah, for real. Like,
yeah.
Yes. I mean, people
graduation
really
gifts.
Appreciate this. Like, you know, the general public out there doesn't really get my obsession with this stuff. Like I do other masks too, and I do other pillows. Like I have Steelers because sad but true. My family, my boyfriend and his kids are Steelers fan. I'm a Viking fan all the way, but I will support whatever. And you know, just like other things that people have. Ooh, and for librarians too, look at this one I found. This one is only librarians. Look at this.
Oh,
it's genre labels.
Where did you get that? That's gold.
That's Spoonflower. So spoonflower.com. And it's not super expensive. Like for masks, it's affordable because I can make a little bit of money with what I pay versus what I can get out of it. A pillow would be a little more difficult. Like it would be more of like a labor of love and like a gift because you would need to buy more because it's a lot more expensive with Spoonflower than like a Joanne fabric.
Yeah, Spoonflower, because I was going to do fabric on there, I decided to do Zazzle.
Yeah.
Because there was a coupon and I still have the fabric. I don't know what I'm doing with it. I just like looking at my fabric.
I know, your fabric is awesome.
I don't want to cut it yet. I'm thinking of that skirt. I want a skirt. But are any of these, like on Spoonflower, like with the genre labels, are those copywritten at all? Are people violating copyright laws with any of the images on Spoonflower?
That's a great question that I haven't really even thought about till now. I guess I had assumed or had hoped that if they're selling it like on a major website that's known. That's a good question though. And I don't fully understand how Spoonflower works because it sounds like there's individuals who submit their prints, right? And Spoonflower, the website is like the host, sort of like an Etsy maybe?
Right, like through Zazzle, I can create things and I could put them up there, and then you could charge a little bit of percent. You can't charge more than 5% for a face shield or a mask. Okay. But my wizard themed one, they kept kicking back.
Oh.
Even though it was modified. Right. But so someone is looking at them, which I think is a good idea. So I just made a new one that says reading is my superpower, and I put like superhero stars and everything. But I want to see how closely they were. I don't know if it's an algorithm. I don't know if it's AI. I don't know if it's someone looking at them. But I really wanted to test the waters and see like what's going on here. And I've seen like prints on Zazzle that are like comic books and things like that, and I don't know how that is. What's the issue with that? Those copyrights.
And I don't know either. And I like because I think about Joanne fabric. Like you can buy all of like those like the Avengers and whatever. You know, like,
but I'm hoping that through Joanne fabric there is like some kind of company that's selling that kind of fabric with a license. With a Zazzle and a Spoonflower.
You're right. It's called like licensed prints or whatever.
Right. So I don't know, like it just is interesting. And when we're talking about, especially now with copyright with books, well, there's other issues with not just movies. It could be any kind of item, and again, licensed fabric. You know, your fabric that you're choosing is complementary to the books. They are not actually
most of the time, yes. Like the cupcakes and the dogs and the stars, like they're just very generic. You know, like this I feel like would be one of the few that might have a copyright thing because like, you have to buy these, you know, the genre labels. But for the most part, I do just symbols and themes.
Like if you use Dewey, you would be violating copyright. There's actually a library hotel and it's all arranged, and they had a problem with Dewey. And also, I know it sounds really strange, but we were watching Team Umizoomi years ago with my kids, and they were going to the library, and they talked about the arrangement of the library, and they talked about Dewey, but not blatant Dewey, because because Dewey is, it is a copyright, it is the system, and they would have to pay if they were talking about on Team Umizoomi the actual system.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
I might actually just look into Spoonflower a little bit and find out more about that before I buy anything else that could be a little.
No, it's just interesting to find out.
Yeah, no, and it's we need to ask those questions. Like, I think that's really important to ask those questions. Because this one too, I feel like could have an issue. This one I got just a small little one for myself. I'm gonna make a mask for like just myself to wear to work. Because I feel like with the whole mask thing, like I'm so dreading that when we go back in whatever form. However, I'm also taking it as a way to personalize and to make it as, you know, a little less crappy, basically.
Right.
You know, to like have it be something that's a little bit more engaging and, you know, just a way to share who I am, because I can't smile anymore, really.
Well,
You know?
I was thinking about getting a mask with just with my actual face on it, so you can actually see my smile, because it's just weird. And I'm hoping that they accept face shields, because honestly, you're talking about kids who need, maybe you have kids who have special needs. They need to see the expression on a teacher's face.
Right.
They need to see someone speaking.
Messaged me to ask if I was making masks that had like the clear mouth.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, I haven't looked into how to do that yet, but if I figure out how to do that, I would be happy to make you one. I just don't know what you would even use, like how you would like do that. I don't understand yet.
I guess like some acetate.
Oh.
Like shields of acetate. I know lots of just people have been making face shields, so it's, you know, it's not as easy to get, but look into thick acetate from Michael's or what have you.
Yeah, I'll have to, because I do agree that will be super important for so many teachers.
Exactly.
She's a kindergartner teacher, you know, like they really need to. And that's what I was wondering. Sharon just said that they might not be breathable. And that was the other thought in my mind. Like, even though it wouldn't be the whole front, like I feel like there could be a way to just have like your mouth and then have the fabric around it. But still, it's like putting your face against a window. Like, right. I don't know. It's already uncomfortable just with the cloth.
Right.
So,
like I said, I think I'm going to just design one from here down, take a picture of myself,
yep.
Go through Zazzle and just make up a mask so you can see the bottom. Just something, because you look like a face.
Yeah, I know. Well, and then like what they were doing in healthcare with like the badges, you know, with your pictures. And I just saw somebody not yesterday maybe post like a button. You know, a lot of us have button makers in our maker spaces, so we can make buttons with our faces on them and put them, you know, like on our shirt or whatever. Bye, Jenny. But yeah, so this was so much fun. Thank you, Christina, for inviting me.
I love your spirit. I love what you're doing. And I'm so happy that everyone else can learn from you. The books, you are a ravenous reader. I wish I could read like this. Again, 3 kids at home. We are reading The Wild Robot Escapes. I will say that, you know, finally I've got back to my reading, so we are enjoying that. I do have Wish Tree sitting there, and I still have I don't know, another book on my night table. And then we're also reading this book. It's Make Your Bed. I don't know if you ever read Make Your Bed. It's a very slim book, and it's from a Navy SEAL, and it's part of a
right.
Yeah, it's a speech, but it talks about different life lessons.
Yes.
So I'm going through that with my kids.
Well, that's awesome.
Yeah, so that's what I'm doing, but not like you. This is awesome.
Well, yeah, that is my hobby, and I do have quite a bit of time for it. So
any other questions?
I love everything you're doing. I'm always so inspired by you. I feel like you say you have 3 kids, but good Lord, girl, like I don't know that you ever sleep. I see the timing of your posts sometimes.
I have to schedule my posts so people don't know when I'm posting them. But you know what? That's my alone time.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's my pleasure.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, I don't have a crafting room. If I showed you my room, if I showed you this place, it would be like crazy. But so that's my joy, and my joy is also bringing people like you in to share what you're doing, because I just love it. I think it's great.
Awesome.
You inspire me. I love you.
Thank you. Ditto. Right back at you. So
So
I
we
will draft that email for you tomorrow, and I'll get it
Mhm.
to you tomorrow, and then we can send it out. And I'll try to include some links too of just some things that I
Oh,
talked
that would be
about, or
great.
just, you know, things that I recommend for different various things. But
Oh, that would be very cool. Yeah, send that to me, and I'll put it through Eventbrite, and then everyone who signed up will get that email and your challenge. We'll see what you're gonna come up with.
yeah, I'll have to like marinate on that tonight. I'll come up with something.
Cool.
But all right. Well, thank you everybody who's still here, and I will hopefully see you all on Twitter or Facebook or sometime soon.
Bye.
Bye, Sharon. I'll get you your book soon. I still have it. All right. Good night, Christina.
Bye-bye. Hugs, Melissa.
Hugs. Bye.
Bye.